Welcome to Lead Like a Girl, where we are empowering everyday women through our stories. I'm your host, Jessica Smith, and I began this journey by sharing my life story. Now, I've joined forces with my longtime friends, Jamie and Corlin, to keep this party going. We met many years ago as young sales girls in our 20s, driven and quickly rising to the top of our industry. As the years went on, life happened, and we all found ourselves in new companies and completely different industries, still striving for success in it all. Career, family, faith, fun. Now, it wasn't easy, but we never stopped moving. Get ready for our real conversations, inspiring stories, and our big life lessons as we share it all. The good, the bad, and the funny. Welcome to Lead Like a Girl.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to Lead Like a Girl. Thanks for joining us for another fantastic episode. We're super excited to be here. I am Corlin, and I'm here again with my two best friends, Jamie and Jessica. How are you guys today?
Fabulous, just as I have here.
Oh.
We have a thing that we're starting here, and Jessica's been taking the reins of this. And I don't know if any of our listeners have seen, I'd love to hear comments on, but we are, and by we, I mean Jessica, is blowing up our TikTok. Jessica, what's up with our TikTok?
Well, first of all, I'm just learning how to operate this TikTok thing, so bear with me. But I would like some comments on my videos. Are they helpful? Are they silly or whatever you guys want to comment or let me know what you want to hear more of, and I'll do more videos.
Awesome. Well, we are here to inspire, encourage, empower everyday women. We're just trying to share our life stories with you so you feel that way. So please follow us on our TikTok. We're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can find our platforms on any podcast platform that you like. We're here for our topic today, and we're talking about building relationships. Last week, if you tune into our episode, we were talking about how to build relationships, how important building like and trust, building rapport with people is. Now we're talking about the why. Why is it important? We like to start off our episodes with a thing that we've coined first minute fast. And so I have got kind of a little bit of a never have I ever business relationship building style. Are you guys ready for this?
Wow.
You just,
okay.
For our listeners, Jamie just snarked her face at me. So we'll see. we'll see how this lands. Okay. All right. First question. Have you ever accidentally called your boss or your manager or somebody of importance in a meeting by the wrong name and had to play it off?
A million times. But
really?
Oh my God, so many times. Not necessarily my boss or my manager, but definitely I've been in a situation where like I've met someone and then it's several months later that I'm like, in fact, I'm going to tell you, just within my last position, I would bring my manager in to meet with my client. And it's like, I haven't seen this guy for whatever. One time I went into a place and I said, hey, well, I talked to Nick and I was like, discussing whatever the business dealings. And the guy literally standing next to me elbows me and he goes, well, I'm Nick. And I'm like, oh. He goes, in my defense, I had a beard last time you saw me and a hat on. And I was like,
how do you backtrack from that?
Here you were.
Oh, hi, Nick. I met you.
I know. I was like, oh, yeah. I started to say, I think I told you guys this maybe. Instead of saying it's nice to meet you, I always say it's nice to see you. Because I don't know if I saw you before, so I'm just going to say it's nice to see you.
Well, I met you. That's
my
Jamie, you are good with these little one-hit wonder tips and tricks. Love it.
Yeah. I'm taking notes over here. I am really bad with names, but I will not call someone the wrong name because I'm just not going to say a name because I don't remember any name. What's weird for me is when I don't remember someone, and this happens all the time where someone's like, hi, how are you? And I just feel like a complete a-hole because I'm like, I don't know that I know you or if I'm who you think I am. And I don't know how to say that. So I just usually play it off. One time, a girl, I was so impressed with her because she sent me, people will send me a text message. Hey, we, met and blah, blah, blah. I don't remember their name or I didn't save their name or it doesn't matter because I don't remember anyway. But she opened up her text message to me and she had a card that was a picture of her and her name. And I just thought, now this is what I need everyone to do. And I'm like, hey, thank you so much. I've never had anyone do this, and you are amazing for this. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was cool. And I'm like, yeah, I need to, more people need to do that because I need that.
I even sometimes give somebody the benefit of the doubt, just assuming I know that we've met before, but I hate that awkward if somebody doesn't know my name, and especially Coraline isn't as common as many names. So I just always throw myself out like, hey, my name's Coraline. And sometimes I'll say, oh yeah, I already know, like we've met before, like, oh, but just, I always reintroduce myself several times. And then also too, so they pronounce my name correctly, because there's nothing worse than missing the window of correcting somebody who mispronounces your name. And then I'm just Carolyn for an eternity, like all the time.
Right. You have no option but to just answer to it. Yeah. No, that's good.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Next one. Have you ever sent a meme or a joke to your entire office thinking it was a private message to one or a couple of people? Or replied back all when you meant to reply back one?
I can honestly say I have not ever done that.
I'm sure I have, but most recently someone else did, and I jumped in and tried to play it off. And it was, and I could just say it because I know I'm assuming that this guy is never gonna. So there's a guy that we call Eeyore, and someone, and he's just like, hey, it's something, and he's like, I don't get it. Well, we thought it was just between us. We didn't know that he was actually in the group message. And I'm like, yeah, that's the nickname we gave you. I thought we told you.
You know what that story reminds me of?
What?
This is funny. When we were all traveling, do you remember this? We were traveling on, I think we might have been in Puerto Vallarta or something for one of our corporate trips. And there was a sales guy that was always coming up to us and very touchy-feely, always comes up, giving you hugs, wrapping your arm around you. And it was just very, very awkward and obvious. And we're all nice. And we're just don't want to do whatever. Well, so Jamie and I nicknamed this dude Hands.
I did not know you were going to this. Okay.
I didn't mean to, but I just remembered it. And it was so just, and so we were talking and then
I told you guys I'm bad with names.
And so this guy comes up and then Jessica calls him like, hey Hans, how are you doing? And Jamie and I look at each other wide eyed and just say, oh, like, no, nothing. Like, his name is I won't say his name under there, but his name is John. Like, his name is not Hans. And he's like, I thought you said his name was Hans. And like, we said Hands. That's his nickname.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That was a good one.
That was a good one, Corey. Oh, my
I
gosh.
totally thought his name was freaking Hans.
Okay. In that respect, have you ever
There's
tried
another one.
Have you ever tried to join a conversation by making fun of a project only to find out the person that you're talking to or that's in the conversation was the lead or made the thing or was responsible for whatever you were making fun of?
Okay. You know what? I've been the one on the other side of that. I've been the one who was made fun of.
Oh, because they didn't know it was your project? Okay.
No, so it wasn't a project, but I remember I used to refer. So if I went to so nobody probably knows what I'm talking about except Corlin, but in Minnesota, there's the gas station called Super America. And I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go down to SA on my break. Does anyone need anything or whatever? And I remember one person saying like, oh, those people who like abbreviate everything into the 2-letter. And I was like, I'm those people.
Yeah. And Corlin, now I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you back right now.
Okay.
That reminds me of that time we were traveling. We were going to a conference, and I was talking to you on the phone, and we're talking about going to get our nails done, and we're talking about French manicures, and you're like, yeah, and you're like, and the worst is like when people get French manicures and they get the white like all thick and big, and she's just going on about how gross this is, and I was like, and I'm sitting there looking at my nails, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You mean how I like to get my French manicure? And she's like, what? You do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm that girl.
Right. And I totally looked at your nails after the fact. I'm like, whoopsies.
You're right.
I know. It's like, yeah, it's me. I'm her. I'm that girl.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, okay. That was good. Thank you, Corlin.
Okay, last one. Have you ever tried to join a conversation by laughing along at a joke that you didn't hear and then have to be forced to explain or talk about the joke and you have no idea what's going on?
No, I'm out on this one. Takes a lot to get me laughing, and it's going to be, no.
I can get behind laughing at nothing on purpose. Like, pretend I just said something really funny. I can get behind that, but no.
She's like, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these just lead up to bad habits of trying to build relationships at work. And I remember, I'll just tell the story and then we'll wrap this up. But I remember I was new at my company, and I work with like we talked about with a lot of guys, and I'm just trying to make friends with some of the females in our group. And I had noticed we have a fitness center across the parking lot, and I noticed I was just trying to make conversation with one of my girl coworkers, and she would walk across the parking lot and go to the fitness center a couple times a day, and I'm thinking that there's a treadmill over there or whatever, and this girl's going to town. And so she comes back one day, and I'm sitting right in her path, my cube's right in her pathway. And I'm like, hey, oh, I noticed that you're going over to the fitness center. What are you doing over there? Trying to ask her, like, what are you working out on? And what are you doing? And she gave me this weird look, and she looks at me just completely disgusted. And she's like, I'm pumping. And I'm like, oh, you're like, she just had a baby and she was going over to the fitness center to pump. And I just like literally my face got pumping. So red and embarrassed. I didn't, I'm like, oh, okay. And then I just went back to work, and it was like the most awkward conversation. And that's what I get for trying to make friends with people. I don't know, but it was funny. Yeah. All right. So our conversation today, we're talking about building relationships and the importance of why it is important to actually build relationships in a good way, not stick your foot in your mouth, not make dumb jokes, not do any of the things we just talked about. So, but we talked about in a lot of our previous episodes about having strong relationships and strong connections with our coworkers. And statistically, I looked up a little bit of information. Did you know that strong workplace relationships enhance communication, trust? They lead to higher efficiencies in your teams, higher job satisfaction. So this is statistically proven that all these things happen. So it's important. But I want to kick off the conversation with us so like we said, last week we talked about how we build relationships. Why do you guys think it's important to nurture your workplace relationships?
So I know that I've shared, and we've kind of talked about this before, that not coming from a big corporate environment, we came from an environment that no one knew who you were. And I always say this, no one knows who you are or cares who you are unless you outperform the room. Like if you're not a top performer, if you're not a superstar in the company, no one cares. In corporate, it actually is, that's not the case. Now you can't be, a lazy bum and not perform, but what is, and this is my experience, what is most important is the relationships that you have. Your career, your future, your advancement is all dependent on the relationships that you have. So that's what I found. Wow. And that's important. That's your foundation of your career.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, what do you think?
I completely agree with you, Jessica. I was thinking along the lines of, one of you guys said this in one of the other episodes where you said we spend as much time, if not more time, with our coworkers than we do with our families and on our personal time. And I just think, call it work-life balance, call it your mental health, call it, just your how you feel about the people that you work with, like your gosh, I can't think of the right word to say right now, but just your satisfaction, I guess, with your job depends so much on the relationships that you have with the people that you work with. And yeah, of course it's incredibly important. And I'm going to tell you this, I kind of struggle with the friendship / mutual respect / this is my boss. I tend to treat the people that I work with just like the people that I love in my daily life. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it does not. And maybe that's a whole different episode, but it makes me think of I want to make sure that when I walk into work every day, I am happy, satisfied, I feel respected. And I also want to make sure everybody else that I work with feels that way too. I want them to get that impression that I respect them. I'm satisfied with working with them. I like them. So yeah, when you talk about, just building those relationships with coworkers, it's vital. I mean, we're not an island. We have to rely on each other. We have to work with each other. And that aspect, again, of mutual respect is just, that's the end all for me. Let's treat each other the way that we want to be treated, but let's also help each other. Let's make it equal.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you were kind of walking down this path, Jamie, and I'm just going to say the thing. I feel like you had said that building relationships, sometimes there's a little bit of a gray area between professionalism and friendship. And that sometimes that can be a slippery slope. I feel like all three of us are fairly charismatic. I've actually talked about this with my husband too, because he's also in the same boat. And we both feel like we talk the same. If I'm talking to a guy, talking to a girl, we talk the same. We want to make people laugh. We like to entertain people. We like to tell stories, but sometimes that gets misconstrued into other things. Are you saying that sometimes friendship and professionalism gets a little hard to manage?
Yeah, I was thinking about this today before we had this call because I was actually thinking it's harder for me to be professional with women than it is with men. I'm completely okay being very professional with men, but when it comes to female coworkers, I absolutely default to friendship. And I don't know that that's the right thing to do. I mean, I feel like I should probably treat everyone the same, but I feel like I default to joking around or friendship or let's talk about our kids or let's talk about whatever with females. And I don't know that that's the right path. I mean, that was something I was thinking about before we had this, because I was like, oh, man, I just kind of discovered that about myself even today. It's I just started a new job today. So it's I'm talking to the females in a different way than I'm talking to the males. So yeah, I don't know. That might be a whole other talk. Do you guys find that? I mean, have you ever been able to be completely professional with a dude, but then you've got a colleague that's a female and then it like you default to friendship? I mean, or is that just me?
Well, it's definitely not me. I do something where I put people in boxes, and I don't know that that's right, but I do. And Cora, I don't know if you were saying, you mentioned your husband, and Mr. Smith tells me a lot that there is no difference for me. Like, I talk to guys like I'm talking to a girlfriend, like, or it doesn't matter. I'm the same way. And to your point, he's brought to my attention that, sometimes I can come off flirtatious, even though I have not gotten that from men. And I don't know if because I put off a vibe like, oh, we're cool, we're talking, we're, laughing, joking, but there's this thing right here, and they know that they don't step over that. And I've never dealt with that. So thankfully, whatever vibe I'm putting off, obviously is the one that says this is still professional. But what I mean by boxes is it's depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. Am I trying to build a network? Am I trying to, is this person a sponsor? Is this person a mentor? And, that might be getting off. We can probably go deeper into that one day. But I think that's part of relationships is having a plan. You guys might think I'm like some serial killer or something if you saw my notebook.
Only sometimes.
How I think about relationship building, right? and so for me, there's like a whole plan. And so to your point, Jamie, I like for friendships to kind of happen organically. So there are people that I'm building relationships with at work, and I'm like, okay, this is a professional relationship. I want to help you, and hopefully you can help me, and we can help one another. It doesn't matter if it's a male or a female. And then at some point in the relationship, it's like, oh, you're one of my people. Like, and then that relationship naturally goes to that friendship level, but it's far and few for me. And maybe it's because I just don't have time to really properly nurture those relationships to allow them to naturally go to friendships. But yeah, I'm less friends in professional places, more colleagues. And
do you ever think that,
like that
not being friends with your coworkers has not been helpful, that has been a detriment to you getting where you want to go?
I would say not necessarily. I wouldn't call the term friends, but I've been in some situations where I was a territory manager and we had inside sales folks, and there were maybe 2 or 3 inside sales folks, and then there were maybe 5 or 6 territory managers. And so we're all vying for like the same work. And you're almost like in the position of like, I need them to like me and want to work with me the most, because that's the only way I'm going to get this work done. I'm essentially competing with my colleagues for the support. And that might not be exactly what you were asking, but I found it to be a situation where I'm like, okay, I need to develop a relationship. And this is the topic, right? I needed to develop a relationship with my support staff so that they took my requests seriously and before everybody else's. And I also had to kind of sell them on that, like sell them on, okay, this is worth this much. This is the client. And kind of present that in a way where I wanted them to do the support work for me versus anybody else. So 100%. I mean, I don't think friend is the right word, but like the relationship building. Like,
I think that's 100% a real thing. And I would be interested to hear from some of our listeners if that is a real thing. I feel like without going down the path of manipulation, that everybody likes to do business with people that they like. We talked about that already. And so if you come off as unfriendly or whatever that word is, and you have a support team of people that are helping you win at your role and win at your project and they don't like you, it's going to be a long time on the struggle bus to get that done. I feel like I've come into contact or had those experiences before where I feel like my question or my ask gets put to the back burner because I'm not the number one person, even though our requests are equal in value.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point, and that's probably a lesson that I learned. And this is, again, probably a topic that we can speak on an entire show. But I had an experience where I had a leader, probably very few times that I had a female leader, and I did not take the time to actually build a relationship. And at some point on the journey, I thought to myself, she has no clue who I am, because the things that have come out of her mouth, the things that she's said or thought about me, there is just absolutely no way that anyone who knows me would think or say those things. So I had to look in the mirror and say, there's a missed opportunity here. Like, you did not take the time to actually get to know her. Maybe we didn't have to call one another friends, but build a relationship that she knew who I was. And so to answer your question, absolutely. I think now, only by the grace of God, that what she thought of me wasn't detrimental to my future, but it very well could have been.
It's crazy to think about the blanket topic of building relationships, how it's just, you kind of take for granted, like, yeah, obviously you're going to make friends and build relationships at your work, but all these little interesting nuances of like, well, if you're not friends with the people in IT, or if you're not friends with the receptionist or whoever that handles your leads, or if you're not in daily collaboration with some of your upper level management to have them open the door for you, like we've talked about, that how much not nurturing those relationships can just thwart everything that you're trying to do or make everything that much more difficult, right?
Yeah. No, I think it's, people don't realize how important it is. And it's something that you have to be intentional. You have to be strategic. And sometimes we're wondering, like, why am I working hard and doing everything I can possibly do and show up the best that I can every day? And it seems like I'm not going anywhere. I'm still in this same spot I was in 5 years ago. And chances are it's because you're not building relationships. You're not building relationships with the right people, or you're not building relationships in the right way.
That is so. How do you build relationships in the right way with all the things we've talked about, taking into consideration male versus female? We're talking about our coworkers, our managers, our subordinates. What is the right way? What is the best way to nurture and build relationships in our corporate lives?
Jess, are you okay with me going?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
No.
So many great answers. It's good.
No, well, I was just going to say, being strategic, and that's, having just like, that's my answer for everything. Plan, like, have a plan. I think there's just so many things, especially as salespeople, we just throw shit against the wall and hope it sticks. That doesn't work. And this is, it's like, well, I'm just going to be nice to people. And no, it has to be strategic. And I'm gonna let you go, Jamie, but I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest things that I learned as a woman of color. Here's the if there are women out there that don't know this, white males rule corporate America. And if you're not building relationship with them, you will lose every time. And someone might get mad at me because I said it, but it is the truth. I've experienced it. And if we're being honest, If you're one of those people that are like, oh, I'm just going to stick with, these people or this, no, I diversify just like you would your stock portfolio. I want everyone included in my network. But the reality is, these are the people that own corporate America today. And if you don't have those people know you and sponsor you, and if you're not building relationships with them for whatever reason, you're missing an opportunity.
Can you real quick dive deep? What is the reason not to, in your experience? Why do you even have to say that?
I think I was gone for a minute. Am I back? So there is no reason not to, but I'll tell you why many don't. And if you would have caught me, 15, 20 years ago, why wouldn't? And that is just insecurities, just not saying, what do I have in common with him? What am I going to talk about? Or he doesn't want to talk to me, or whatever other messages of negativity in my head that I could come up with. I think for a lot of people, that's why. But again, it's just it's a missed opportunity.
I only have one quick thing to add. I would say clear expectations. I think setting very clear expectations in probably every aspect of our lives, but also like work related, and is that clears everything up. What do you expect from me? What do I want from you? Let's set it. Let's talk about it. Let's write it down. I want to meet and exceed expectations in my job. So tell me what that means for you. And in honestly, probably every relationship of your life, if you have clear expectations of what you want from the other person, and they know what they want from you, and you agree upon it, that's it. I know that's a lot different than Jessica's answer.
No, but that's still good. That's good.
It. That's clearly explain where you're at and what you want, and hear what they want. And that is the best way to start any sort of a work-related, personal, whatever relationship. That's exactly it for me.
When I was thinking about this, I kind of would take a different take, that if I was talking to somebody who had a hard time with being bold and taking those, not necessarily steps of faith, but just being very direct with the conversation. I think some of the things that I've used, especially early on in my career, is that volunteering for a lot of things. And I'm not meaning like volunteering like service work. I'm talking about if there's a project at work, or if there's a committee, if there's something that you can get involved with and be on a team together. I've felt that is one of the best ways to build relationship, because it's just that natural progression of working towards a common goal. And you realize you've got some differences, some similarities, but you can talk about the work thing, but then also that natural conversation, that natural relationship building happens. And I don't know what it is, isn't it?
Love that.
I mean, Jessica,
Absolutely
you are
that.
the epitome of somebody who likes to get involved with things at work. I mean, how many committees are you on? 27?
Not enough, Corlin. Not enough. I can do more.
You cut out on us a little bit. What was your answer?
I'm sorry. I was gone. I was gone there for a second. I said not enough. Yeah. I can do more. That
sounds like my friend Jessica, as we talked about last episode about FOMO, right? The ability just to say no.
Right.
Like we just don't want to miss out.
FOMO. I'm a work in progress.
I think that just being courageous and just getting involved is another great way. As we're running out of time here, but it just one quick question that I have to wrap this up is that if you were to give somebody one piece of advice on why building relationships and going the extra mile to develop and nurture relationships within your corporate career, how has it impacted you the most?
For me, it has allowed me to be impactful in many others' careers. When I get an email for someone thanking me that they got this job after they lost, 9 interviews, after, just talking and working through interview practice and all that good stuff, that for me is the biggest thing that I've taken out of building relationships, is what I've been able to help other people do with their careers.
Jamie, how about you?
I 100% agree with Jessica. I think connection, that's the word that comes to mind, is just being able to connect the people that when you develop a good relationship with someone you work with, your colleagues, your customers, your clients, whatever it is, people in the community, you're able to make the connections and you're able to help people in such a different way than anything else. It's mentoring, it's connecting someone with you have a person who needs a job, you got a person who needs a worker. It's just connection. That's it. That's the one word that comes to mind. That's probably my takeaway from today. Portland, you're the best host ever. I love it. I'm sorry. You're equal to Jessica.
I think, really what it sums up is that we talked about at the beginning of this episode that we are wanting to inspire, encourage, and empower everyday women. And you can't inspire, encourage, and empower people in a vacuum. There has to be a relationship. There has to be human connection. There has to be interaction. And we do that by strategic, thoughtful connectedness and through relationship building. So listeners, that is our time today. I hope you got some really great nuggets from this episode. We love talking about these things. And again, check out our TikTok. Jessica is working hard. Jamie's second and I'm dead last. So you'll see some videos from us. If it was a competition, those are the stats at this moment in time. But don't forget, we're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. Our website is also leadlikeagirllab.com. We've got some fantastic merchandise. I've seen some pictures come out. We want to see some more. Jessica's wearing our swag today. So that's all I got. Continue. Lead like a girl in your own environment. And until next time, we're saying goodbye.
Bye.